Right now, we are tracking dangerous winter weather moving our way. A live look over Greensboro, Winston-Salem, High Point, and Burlington shows not much yet, but our weather team says most of the impacts could hit any time between now and tonight. Thanks for tuning in to WFMY Plus. I'm Ben Briscoe. If you're still trying to prepare, time is running out. Moments ago, Harris Teeter told us they'll be closing many of their stores by 8 o'clock tonight. After that, you're not going to want to go outside anyway. It's going to be gross. Within the last hour, the snow started coming down in parts of our area. If you squint your eyes and you focus really hard, you can see a few flakes in this video from Archdale. A live look at the radar, too, shows the system as it moves closer and closer our way. Look at that cloud cover coming towards us. Tim says we should expect snow, sleet, and freezing rain. And take a live look at the roads as there'll be a major impact for tonight. Right now, totally clear out there, but by midnight, Tim thinks there'll be almost a solid sheet of ice on the roads. Then tomorrow, the focus turns towards power outages. Right now, utility trucks from 27 states and even Canada are geared up and standing by. In fact, Duke Energy mobilized 18,000 workers across North and South Carolina for this storm. We have live team coverage all night long. Lauren's live at the Duke Power staging area, but we want to start with meteorologist Alex Williams. Alex, when are we going to expect the worst of this?
Well, guys, we're actually already starting to see sleet out here in East Greensboro. It's starting to come down. It's very light. It's not going to amount to much at this rate, but this rate is only expected to increase as we go through the evening. And so since it's starting now, we're only going to see those totals increase as we go through the next couple of hours. That'll make travel difficult. So we kind of have a double-edged sword. We have the winter storm moving in now, and that is going to provide sleet for the next several hours, maybe some snow in there for some. And then we're going to see that transition over to freezing rain, and that'll be into our Sunday. So the impacts for freezing rain, power outages, that's more Sunday. And then on the backside of that, an Arctic air mass is going to move back in, and it is going to be absolutely frigid outside, dangerously cold, single-digit temperatures for us. So what do you need to do? Like Ben said, you need to get into your nice warm house by 6 o'clock, be off the roads, because again, it's already starting to sleet. What does that tell us as meteorologists? That dry air that was protecting us from the precip falling is now starting to erode. And so we're only going to see this increase over the next couple of hours. Look at all of the winter storm warnings and ice storm warnings across the United States. That includes, of course, the Carolinas, with ice storm warnings across upstate South Carolina and stretching even up towards Davie County. And then winter storm warnings in effect for the rest of the Triad, with some winter weather advisories even back towards the coast, where they'll see some impacts, but not as significant as we are expected to see. So here is our radar across the state. You can see some of the blues showing up here, indicating at least some of the wintry precipitation. I do think we're seeing sleet. I know we're seeing sleet. I can hear it hitting me here every so often. Look at the temperatures across the area too. Very cold. My fingers can attest to that. You do need to prepare if you're heading outdoors or maybe heading home, maybe grabbing something last minute. You need to prepare for the cold. Wear lots of layers, have the hats, have the gloves on. I'll probably have a hat on as we go towards the evening hours because it's just getting very cold. So again, your hours are closing and dwindling for you to get prepared for this before you need to be inside. Again, around 6 o'clock, you're going to want to be inside. As the sleet starts to accumulate tonight on area roadways, we're going to start to see a mess, and you don't want to be out on area roadways as you go through the evening tonight. Into the day tomorrow, even worse. Just stay home. Don't even bother to try to get out on the roads anywhere unless it's an absolute emergency, and even then use caution, because we are going to see freezing rain take over tomorrow, and that's going to start to accumulate on area roadways, making them dangerous, and even on area trees. And as far as infrastructure goes, that could be a serious problem as we go through the day tomorrow, especially for the southern tier of our viewing area. That's who we think are going to see the most significant icing. High pressure anchored to our north. This is keeping us cold, and it's cold right now, and it's going to continue to remain cold as we keep that northeasterly wind locked in. The area of low pressure to our south, riding along the stalled out frontal boundaries, providing the moisture. also could take a little moisture from us. So maybe that'll help us lower at least some of the totals of icing that were expected. And then the other ingredient is the warm air that's coming straight up from the Gulf. It's riding up over that dome of cold air, and it's going to start punching in more forcefully as we go overnight tonight into the day tomorrow. And that's why we'll see that transition from sleet to freezing rain. So again, we are really expecting freezing rain to be the greatest impact. We will see sleet that is going to bring impacts tonight as this sleet that's falling right now continues to kind of increase in coverage and in intensity for us. But you can see this deep pink. That is over ½ an inch of ice, and that is really disastrous. I mean, most of the Triad could get up to 1/4, and that's going to cause problems. Here at about 1/10 of an inch of ice, you already start getting everything coated in a glaze of ice, and it'll be very slippery. When we're talking 1/4 inch of ice, now we're starting to talk impacts to trees, branches start bending down, could break, and we could see sporadic power outages. You get up to ½ an inch, that's a crippling ice storm with widespread impacts expected, widespread power outages expected as well. So that's what you can expect with that power of ice. You cannot underestimate ice. It is to be taken very seriously. We're already starting to see some of the sleet now, and we could see several inches of sleet, especially across the northern Triad. As we go to the south, you start cutting down those sleet totals very quickly. Impacts are going to be expected. We're starting to see the sleet a little bit now. That'll only increase tonight. Then it switches to freezing rain. And because of that, travel is going to become extremely impacted and very dangerous. And then power outages. As we start to accumulate the ice on trees, we start to see some of those power outages increase as well. The other part of the storm is the cold air. We'll see single-digit lows as we go into our Tuesday. So whatever falls tonight onto the ground, well, it's going to be sticking around for quite some time thanks to those cold temperatures. So really, this is what we're looking at. As we go through the next couple of hours, we'll continue to see that sleet increase. That'll change to freezing rain tomorrow. We will see impacts through the evening tonight on area roadways especially. Tomorrow, that then becomes a concern for area trees and infrastructure and roads as we start to get that freezing rain. When do we see it transition from sleet to freezing rain? That is the question, and that will determine how much sleet we see, how much freezing rain we see. That cold sticks with us through our Monday. Monday morning's commute is going to be very, very dangerous. You need to take it extra cautious and extra slow no matter what we get, and that cold lasts through Tuesday morning.
As Alex just said, the roads will be the biggest problem tonight. So if you do have to go anywhere, check out drivenc.gov first. They list all the roads that are having problems because of the weather events. Right now, the only issues reported are the ferries out at the beach. Some of them have already closed down because of this weather storm. After tonight, though, that main concern does become power outages. If you look at the Duke Energy power outage map right now, it's just normal, but they're expecting thousands that might pop up across our area. And to prepare for that, that's why earlier this week, Duke Energy donated $100,000 to help the Red Cross with setting up shelters to keep people warm. Duke Energy also brought in extra crews to help get the lights back on as soon as possible. Our Lauren Tier is live at a staging area in Winston-Salem.
That's right. So as you can see behind me, all of these utility trucks are lined up here at the Winston-Salem Fairgrounds. In fact, you might be able to see up above these little bucket trucks. Those are in a lot across the street. This is just one of many staging areas in the Triad as we prepare for some expected power outages. These crews have come in from 27 states and even as far away as Canada to help with anything that we might need. Duke Energy officials say the 100 trucks stationed here at the fairground are just some that will be in Winston-Salem. In fact, as we speak, they're setting up another staging area at the Joel Coliseum. We do not know at this time how many utility trucks will be stationed over there. Of course, crews say the big concern right now is ice, not snow. That's what's going to cause these power outages. Now, as of right now, nothing's falling, all right? It's really cold. Actually, I take that back. I just saw a teeny tiny flake. You probably can't see them right now. I don't know if it's snow or sleet. Very, very tiny little things falling from the sky right now, but it's pretty much just really, really cold.
Lauren, as the teeny tiny flakes out there start to fall, are you seeing people still out and about, or are most people starting to stay home and hunker down?
Yeah, honestly, Ben, it's been very quiet in Winston. We drove around downtown a little bit. We're staying at a hotel in the downtown area, and even driving here from Greensboro, roads were very quiet. Haven't really seen many people walking around. Seems to me that most people have taken the hint and are deciding to actually hunker down at home.
Good to hear. After all, Governor Josh Stein says, please stay home during this storm if you can. And Lauren, you stay safe out there.
Cold mornings usually mean you're warming up the car. You know, back in the day, it was because the car needed it. But cars from this century, yeah, they don't really need that.
Automakers today say let your car run for maybe 30 seconds before you take off, because the oil in the car, the way that it works better when it's moving between all the parts, and it does that better when you're on the move.
For your comfort, the quickest way to feel warm in a cold car is to put on those heated seats. Experts say the heat-to-body connection is much faster than trying to heat up the cabin of your car. And don't be surprised when you see the low tire pressure indicator light come on.
When it gets cold, the rubber in your tire and the metal in your rim, they contract at different paces, and that lets air out of your tire. So, and it is very, very bad idea to drive anywhere on a tire with too low air. You leave yourself open to the possibility of a blowout or other tire damage, and in winter, you don't want to be stranded on the side of the road.
Along with the low tire pressure, car experts estimate that freezing weather drains your battery power by 30 to 60%. 'Tis the season for people to get new batteries. The good news is, if you actually get the car started, your battery naturally recharges as you drive.
With the winter storm affecting how we travel, we're learning from Claire Fry why those overpasses and bridges are where you need to be the most careful.
Today we're going to dive into an important topic for winter weather safety. Why do bridges and overpasses freeze first? You see it all the time while you're on the road, the signs that say bridge ices before road. Let's take a closer look at why. When temperatures drop and ice forms on surfaces, all surfaces won't react the same way. Regular roads are built on the ground with the earth beneath them acting as a thermal buffer. This helps keep the pavement warmer than the air temperature, delaying the freezing process. But bridges, air surrounds them on all sides. There's no insulation to hold the heat, so the bridges get colder more quickly, freezing first. Another factor to consider is the wind. Because bridges and overpasses are elevated, they're more exposed to wind that will carry heat away from the surface, making it even colder and increasing the likelihood of ice formation. Roads may be somewhat sheltered from the wind by features like trees or buildings. We've seen this happen in our area recently, so understanding this simple science can help you stay safe during winter driving. Always keep an eye on the weather and be especially cautious when approaching elevated roadways. Stay safe, stay warm, and thanks for tuning in to Raise Your Weather IQ. I'm meteorologist Claire Fry.
As the storm comes, we know you're going to have a lot of questions about the weather. Text 336-379-5775 with any weather questions you might have, and we could feature it right here on WFMY. Like we said, the winter storm is...
All right, let's take a look here at the radar, because we are definitely starting to see some of that wintry weather on radar start to now make its way to the ground. Some light sleet. That is most likely what I can almost guarantee that Lauren was seeing sleet. You just have to listen for it. If you hear the tick, 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 or if it's bouncing off of your jacket, Ben, that's really when we're talking about sleet here. But as far as this trend, it is only going to continue, and we're only going to see that sleet kind of increase in intensity, and that's when I think we start seeing those issues on those area roadways. But temperatures very cold. Make sure you're bundled up if you're heading out there. As Lauren said, that's the big deal right now. Is it's really, really, really cold. We'll start to see that sleet increase over the next couple hours.
Okay, so we're talking the possibility of sleet, snow, and freezing rain and ice. What are we rooting for? What's the best case scenario?
We definitely want more sleet, because that means less freezing rain. The kind of thing that we're still looking at it and figuring out is the exact time that we really transition from say the sleet that we're expected to get as we go through the next couple of hours overnight into the morning hours tomorrow, that will transition to freezing rain at some point. If it does it later on, that means less ice for us and less major impacts. It'll still be impactful because if you get several inches of sleet, that definitely can cause some impacts.
What are the problems with sleet? I always think of sleet as like ball bearings. They make the road really slippery. Is that the biggest issue?
Yeah, exactly. You can think of it like trying to drive on tiny marbles. You're going to try to brake and maybe skid a little bit because of the sleet. And as it starts to increase more and more on area roadways or on sidewalks, that increases the ability or the potential impact through the overnight. So you really want to be home by 6 o'clock tonight.
Okay, in any storm, I think the biggest fear everyone has is black ice on the roads. Are we going to deal with that, or will you be able to see the patches of ice because it's sleet right now?
Well, for now, yeah, anything that's going to be shiny, you might want to be careful on because that could be a patch of black ice. Which is, of course, ice on asphalt. That's why it's called black ice. But nonetheless, as we go through the evening, as it starts to accumulate, that's really, I think we're going to see the greatest impact. As far as black ice, I mean, we're going to get ice on the roads actually tomorrow. So yeah, that'll definitely be something we're going to have to watch out for.
I know a lot of people are sitting at home saying, wait, my phone told me earlier this week we were going to have like 16 inches of snow. Why was that wrong? What changed to make this system more sleet and ice?
Warm air. Warm air is the key. And what the Apple Weather app won't tell you is that there's warm air that's sneaking in aloft. So basically, as it starts to nose in ever so slightly, now the snowflakes start to melt a little bit and then they refreeze as they come into the contact with the cold air right at the ground, right? We have cold air at the ground thanks to that surface high to the north, and that's locking in the cold air. But as that warm air starts to increase, now we melt the snow completely and then it falls and contact freezes on everything on the ground. That's that freezing rain. So what your Apple Weather app's not telling you is there's warm air there. What it's doing is it's taking the precip that's available and taking everything that's below 32 and making it snow. And that's just not the case.
We talked about all the bad stuff, but there's a lot of people that love this kind of weather. Is there going to be good weather to sled? Is sledding going to be okay at all?
It just depends. Do you see snow? Or if we're already starting to see sleet, I almost want to say here, especially across Greensboro, if we're starting to see sleet already, I don't think we see it transition back over to snow. So I don't know if we see any here. It could mix in at times, but I think it's going to be more sleet and freezing rain for the impacts.
I mean, I guess you can compact it and make a snowball at least, sort of.
Yeah, an icy snowball. Don't go throwing that at your neighbor, though. That's not very nice.
So what is your biggest concern going forward tonight? What are you tracking and keeping the closest eye on?
The closest thing is we're going to watch the intensity of the precipitation because as it starts to increase, that's when I think we start to see the impacts on a roadway. So roads are going to be impacted tonight. Tomorrow, it then switches to trees, infrastructure, roads again, of course. But really, as that sleet starts to come down across the region, as it starts to increase in intensity, you want to be off the roads because it's going to get slippery.
Here's what concerns me most about this storm is it's not just today and tomorrow. Monday and Tuesday, we're also going to feel some impacts. What should we worry about there?
Well, the problem is everything that we see, Ben, that falls tonight into tomorrow is not going to go away. We're not going to warm up to 60 degrees. Like you said, it's going to be cold. So anything that falls, it's going to stay around for several days into next week and potentially all the way through next week with black ice patches every morning as we kind of get that melting and refreezing.
Well, thanks for keeping us up to date. You're going to be back on WFMY Plus pretty much all night long throughout this storm and tomorrow, so we'll keep you up to date right here. Like we said, this winter storm is moving our way. It's already hit several other states like Missouri. I want you to, if we have it, look at some video here from Kansas City. Actually, we're going to, get to that video. The snowplow going there, it looks like they've got a nice little dusting there. Not awful road conditions, but certainly not great. In case the power does go out for a long period of time, you'll really want to be ready. Right now, get that stash of batteries and a flashlight. And I don't care what you're doing, get up from the couch, go make sure your phone is on the charger right this second, because that is going to be the biggest issue once those powers start. You'll want your phone, and you want to be able to watch us on WFMYnews2.com as well to get the latest information. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you later tonight.